Look what I found in my pocket. Look, a year's salary right here. That's what I call them, fun coupons. See that?
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Last Epoch. Senior developer, co-founder of EHG Mike held his normal Friday Q&A live stream on Twitch, which means I get to bring you Dev Chat 179. As always, Mike answered lots of great questions from the community and gave us some Season 3 teasers. And we're going to jump into this right now around Mike talking about dots.
Thoughts on more bleed unique affixes? Yeah, so I think there's something I've been really trying to find a way to incorporate into the game recently. One feedback we get a lot is that a lot of our dots feel very similar. So like bleed, the way you build for bleed and ignite, especially those two.
True. And
poison gets this feedback too, but I would argue that it is a little bit different. But they have a very samey feel to them, where it's the situations that you use them in are the same, and you kind of just want to stack as many as you can and attack as fast as possible type thing. So I've been trying to find ways to incorporate new mechanics into, and this is not just me, this is the game in general, has been trying to find new ways to incorporate mechanics into the game where you can, how do you say it, like, use similar themed dots, maybe new types of dots that are like themed around physical bleeding style, but have them behave differently in different situations, or have mechanics that scale off of it in ways to make the gameplay a little bit different and the build path a little bit different. So yeah, we're looking at ways of working with ailments a little bit better to make them more interesting. It's about as big.
I feel like the game has enough ailments. Like, I'm sure you could add a few more, but again, it goes back to the difference. Instead of adding a ton of new ailments, take the ones you existing have and just differentiate them a little bit. Acolyte changes.
All right, any ETA for Acolyte changes? The next, I think we're done with like content changes for most of the game until Season 3 comes out. There might be like small things here and there, but like, the next time you'll see major changes or features, additions, or balances or anything like that, like for on any sort of significant scale, will be Season 3 start. And we don't have an ETA for that yet. We do have an internal target that's looking good still, but we don't have a fixed date that we're ready to talk about yet.
When Mike talks about the time is looking good, that means 3 to 4 months. They've said over and over again, I could probably pull up 10 different times EHG has said, the difference between 2 and 3, Season 2 and Season 3, will be 3 to 4 months. And we are less than 2 months away from 4 months. So if he's confident now, I feel pretty confident on an August Season 3. New sets.
Are we getting more set items in Season 3? Please. I love the set crafting, but feel there's not enough of them yet. Great question. Yeah, I think set crafting, I agree with the sentiment behind this, in that the system's good. We don't have a lot of high tier sets yet. Yeah, there's we are designing sets to craft or to put in the game at the moment. I can't say if or how many will make it into Season 3 or not. But yes, new set items is a design discussion that is actively taking place at the moment.
Actively in development is what he said, and not sure how many, if any, will make it in. We'll get at least one. I guarantee it. Quality of life changes.
Be easier way to use runes on multiple items via forging in the future. Right now it feels kind of tedious, as presented by me doing all of those red ring attempts. Yeah, this is something we're working on. Specifically shattering is something we've been looking at for mass shattering or fast shattering, something like that. Like there needs to be there's tedious repetitive motions, and this is the sort of thing that I would really classify as a quality of life change, where there's this tedious repetitive motion that doesn't require any skill at all, and it's just putting stuff in a box and pushing a button over and over again. Changing that to having like a, I don't know, this button, you control click the rune of shattering, and it makes your cursor into like a hammer, and you just like start clicking on stuff and it pops them. Like that would be a quality of life change that that we are in, that sort of category of thing is what we're looking at. I don't know exactly how that's going to be implemented, but we are considering options there.
Oh, that would be very nice. HUD changes?
Topic of the HUD. Is it in the realm of possibility that you could move the experience bar above the skills? Ooh, because it being below gets cut off by a bunch of the time, and I have to resize last epoch to make it show. I think that's pretty unlikely. If it's like there's a lot of space below it, if that's getting cut off, like something's wrong. Something's wrong with the like how the game's like laying out in the window. Pretty bad there.
No HUD changes, likely a resolution issue. Season 3 teaser.
All right now, because they are related. I'll talk about those in a second.
He's gonna tell us.
So we'd
what
love
they
to
are,
have. Yeah, I'd love to have a Grail quest tracker, something that would allow you to. The imprint system would allow us to put the item into the tracker, where you could record what the item is. You'd have a record. You'd have a record of what each item you found is, but you could still use them. So you wouldn't need to. You could. It would be really easy to get them. You could like drop one, and you could then craft it, or roll it, or sell it, or all sorts of things. Sort of like things you've ever found or things you've ever got in some way. And I think having that would be really positive. I think we could do it really elegantly. So yeah, I think that's on the table. It's on a list.
That would be really cool.
It's not very far up that list, unfortunately. Any plans to look at experimental affixes now that they can't be sealed? Yeah, we're always looking at balancing stuff like that. I think experimental affixes are really interesting. It's an interesting design space. I think there's room for new ones, updating old ones, changing how they interact with other things, all that sort of stuff. Are there still secrets similar to Fractured Crown and Verdant Lakes, etc., that have not been found by players yet? No. The last one to be found was the I know there's something on the screen still. In End of Time, there's a way you can get the Spring In from the Lightless Arbor dungeon to move to the End of Time. That was the last one that was discovered, and I think that was the last one that was missing.
Hang tight. Here it comes. I think.
Any way to use the right D-pad for WASD? Like on your keyboard, like the arrow keys? You should be able to remap those if you want. Just in settings.
They're probably talking about being able to aim and strafe
gameplay,
like PoE2.
Keys. You should be able to remap that. Yes, so these are we're making a couple updates to the Merchants Guild. So these are, I'll tell you right now, these are related to the Merchants Guild, but that's basically all I'm going to say about them. That is all I'm going to say about them. It's related to the Merchants Guild. So you will not be interacting with these as COF. You will only be interacting with these as Merchants Guild. And yeah, that's about it. There'll be more information and more details on these when Hype Week eventually starts.
I have no idea what they are. I really don't. As somebody that plays Merchants Guild, if you had Aaron just throw out wild guesses, just simply UI updates, like a different visual to the way Merchants Guild work, potentially UI updates when it actually comes to the faction, potentially a Merchants Guild currency not using gold, which I do think is very, very unlikely. Also, I've seen in player-driven economies getting like tax credits. So they've had taxes in Merchants Guild now. So maybe this is a way to like use one of these tokens to get your tax credits back, to get your gold back. But I have no idea. Lootfilter sounds.
Filter sounds. Well, we haven't really announced that we're specifically doing that yet. I don't think. But if we do that, the earliest it would happen would be season 3. I don't know if it'll be ready by then if we do it.
That was close.
We haven't officially announced if we're doing it, but if we do it, which we're doing, it'll be in season 3. Technically, they have not publicly said, hey, we are building sounds into the Lootfilter. I would venture to guess Mike 20 times on the Friday live streams or through podcasts have said, this is definitely something we want to do. Now, you're not going to be able to pick the sound. They'll be able to give you a couple of sounds and you can pick which one you want. So you can't just say it and make the sound, but I feel overly confident, 99%, they are working on sounds for loot filters. Please be ready by season 3. Please.
Getting an estimated DPS of our minions like we do with other skills. We're working on it.
That was close.
It's not working yet, but that is something that is actively being worked on. I don't know if it's going to be ready in time for season 3. I hope so. I don't know though. Surprisingly tricky to make work. The problem is that it's really easy to make a version that is wildly unhelpful and actively will help you make wrong decisions. That's really easy to do. Unfortunately, that's worse than just having it not exist.
DLSS?
DLSS or performance issues, even high-end systems. Yeah, so we are in the middle of rolling out Unity 6, which is going to help with that. Even more, like there was pretty significant bonuses there when we went at the last upgrade, and the next one's going to have even more. And yeah, we're looking at upgrading better performance, new technology, stuff like that. Yeah, we're doing all stuff like that.
And if you don't know, Unity 6 is the current version of Unity, so they'll be on the highest performing version, which should bring us DLSS and FSR. All right, everybody, unfortunately, we have come to the final question for Dev Chat 179. Mike, as always, thank you for your Friday live streams. The community truly appreciates it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Of course, if you think I have earned it, we are 600 subscribers away from 100,000. Just blown away by this awesome community support. Thank you so much. Don't forget to check out my new website, actionrpg.com. Lots of last epoch tips, tricks, news, leveling guides, build guides, creators like myself, The Curse, Frozen Sentinel, Babbling Bike, and the website continues to look better, get better, have more tools and resources. It's going to be very, very cool when it's done. I'm done. I'm going to let Mike take it away talking about tools and resources inside of Last Epoch. Mike, do your thing.
All right. What do you think about a compendium-like feature for browsing existing legendary and set pieces? It would be cool to be able to browse these items just to see the descriptions and item graphics / art. I'd love to do a bestiary and item bestiary. I don't know how to pronounce it. I never know. I always second guess myself. But having like a it's the Pokedex effect, you know, like okay, I've seen this one, and it gives you like a little bit of information, and then you've like, I've picked it up, and you get the full information, that sort of thing. Like that would be, it doesn't work quite as well in an RPG setting, but I'd love something like that. Yeah, I'm in. I think there's an element of discovery that I love about not having all of the all the possible items available directly in game, because it does get a little bit meta and a little bit databasey and a little bit like non-diegetic. I'd rather it be a like something that your character's like discovering and learning, and that sort of thing could persist season to season maybe, but like I don't know, I like that it's not that there is a way to play purely in the game without going to other websites. And we do try and keep as much, this is sort of contradictory, so something that I say a lot is that we try and keep functionality that people want to use frequently in the game. We try not to say like, okay, here's something that people are trying to use a lot, okay, go to this other website to do it. We try and avoid that as much as possible, but sometimes it's worthwhile and sometimes it works better. So I don't know, maybe. I have a game mechanics question about Chaos Bolts. I noticed it completely lacks an estimated DPS number similar to minions. Does it really? That's surprising. That's really surprising. Is the program logic implemented similar to minions, where each bolt is a separate spell object in the world, contrasting with something like Ice Barrage, which does have estimated DPS tooltip numbers? No, it works extremely similarly to Ice Barrage, which is a separate object for each one. So you like the way you described Chaos Bolts is how Chaos Bolts and Ice Barrage both work. Yeah, I don't. There's no reason why Chaos Bolts shouldn't have one. I don't think. Will set items stay not? That just please bug report that.